is that looping? There we go. Okay. Yeah, I hate that. I really, really detest that delay. You know, it's supposed to be like 7 or 8 seconds, something like that, and it's usually like 10 or 12, maybe even 15. I don't know. Throws me up a freaking wall. All right. Let me make sure my volume is working here. Delay. All right, but just want to let me check my mic. Da-da-dee, da-da-dee. Because, like I tell my cousin all the time, I'm a professional. Yeah, okay. There. Okay. So that should kick it up in case anybody has any hearing issues like I do. Partly because I was in the military, partly because I'm an old fart. I don't feel old. Well, I don't feel, 20. It's been a long time since I felt that. I don't look 20. Sometimes I wish I looked 30, but I don't look my age either. So I am eligible for and already on Social Security until the GOP tries to get rid of it completely. But, we're not going to completely get into that tonight. We're going to touch on it briefly. This is on the current channel right now, the hashtag Not All Hippies. That was my old channel. I have some videos there and some videos on the original Angry Wrench channel for YouTube. It was, what's the word I'm looking for? Not deprecated. I had some problems with Restream, which is my streaming software that allows me to share it to more than one channel or whatever, and didn't work out that way. So I'm trying to get that fixed. I've been beating my head on it for about a week now, but this actually does work. So at least I got this until I get that going, and it's free. So I'm not going to gripe too much, I guess. Especially my income. Oy. So like I said, I am the Angry Wrench. I am a leftist. I don't really get into the meat and potatoes of the theory. I have read it. I'm not really here to discuss it. To me, that's in the right context. It's not bad, but in general, unless that's specifically what you're coming for, and that's it. Sometimes it's boring, to be honest. So I'm just like, no, the concepts aren't, but the way they're put across are. So I am leftist. I am not a Democrat, although I generally do vote Democrat. I'm a trans woman. I am a senior citizen. It's kind of weird to say that. And I'm very mouthy. One of the things that YouTube does is keep, not so much keep track, but like their algorithm, I should say, individually single out any particular show usually, but their algorithm is such that if you swear or use any profanity within the first I think it's 60 seconds, you can be demonetized. Now I'm not demonetized, I'm nowhere near, so I'm not too worried about that. But so there will occasionally be the shit, piss, fuck, motherfucker, whatever, that'll come out of my mouth. If you don't like that, or if you don't like a leftist bent and don't really want to get into that, or don't really want to converse with that, this channel is not for you. And that's fine. I do not do civil discourse on this channel. I do not do tone policing. But that does not mean that I allow Nazis, alt-right, quote-unquote conservatives to come in and spew their BS. Not happening. It's my space, not yours. So, long intro, you're probably already tired of that, so let's get into it. Okay, so the title of the show tonight, I will put a pinned post in the comments below. The title tonight is Michelle Obama, the FDA, football, and a lying, hypocritical geopolitician. Is there any other kind? GOP politician? No, there's not. There are no moderate Republicans anymore in any sense of leadership in any way, shape, or form. I don't care if they're like, for example, on the issue of abortion, if it's okay if it's in, if the mother has been sexually assaulted, or in the case of incest or whatever. Here's the problem with that. That's a good mouth. that's a good, pretend until you have like a state in Texas where a woman had that, and not only that, but was told also that, or in case of saving the life of the mother. In this particular case, that's what it was. Medically, she was going to die, more than likely, if she didn't get it. And a judge, not a doctor, a judge told her, no, that's not covered. So she went to another state to get it. Fuck you, Texas. By the way, that's not aimed at every person in Texas. I have a lot of friends in Texas who are blue in one way, shape, or form. Or slightly purple. I can tolerate a little bit of that, not very much. And they're getting screwed over too. Texas, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Florida, Arkansas, wherever. Iowa. We're going to get into Iowa. All right, so what I'm going to do tonight is the format's going to be a little different. It's going to be a little shorter, hopefully. And so what I'm going to do is, by the way, if anybody feels free, they can hit a like and a comment in the chat, and then of course afterwards. And if you come in late and I'm out to end the show or whatever, again, because it's going to be shorter than normal, you can watch the rerun. That's what it's there for. And in fact, it's usually available like within 2 minutes after the show ends, and then you can make a comment in the comment section below. So we're going to start out with some short bits, okay? So let me get my little picture screen here. La-da-dee, da-da-dee. We all live in a condom factory. All right. So we're going to get this up. And again, I hate this ignorant ass delay that YouTube puts on it. And I've tried everything I can do to see if I can reduce that. And they're like, nope. So, I'll have to deal with it, I guess. So, first of all, we're going to start with this young lady right here. I think a few of you might know her. And her husband. It is Michelle Obama. This was at the DNC convention, excuse me. Aside from other things, whatever, she looks pretty happy here, okay? In her element, she's a great public speaker, etc. Okay. And then you have this picture here, which is not completely the opposite, but I'm sorry, but that look on her face says, why the fuck am I standing next to these people? I gotta smile because it's a photo op. I gotta smile. Barack is smiling. I gotta smile. But why the fuck am I here? Again, I'm just putting thoughts in there that she might not have even thought that, but that's what the image looks like to me. Okay. Next one is the FDA, and I don't have the prop that I was going to get, so we're going to get this one. Okay. So the FDA has decided that they are going to put the nutrition facts on the front of packages, like on the front of cereal, on the front of potato chips, on the front of whatever. Okay. Because apparently Americans can't do this. I swear. And granted, maybe that's a whole boomer thing or whatever, that's fine, okay, whatever. But really, you can't just, turn the package around or whatever, It may be a little bit more of, pretending, because it is pretending, especially with Brainworm Bobby coming in to run it, pretending to kind of dial back the fake advertising, etc., of the companies. In other words, if they put the I guess the idea is that they put the nutrition facts on front, people won't buy it as often, the bad food or whatever. I don't know. This isn't a partisan comment, but it's the gummit. It is what it is. And this right here, okay. Obviously, the Super Bowl is coming up. A lot of people are excited about it. This is a boomer take from me, okay? But a lot of people are excited about it. A lot of people are obviously attending it. They're watching it on TV, whatever, okay? I don't give a flying shit fuck. I do not care about football. I do not care about the Super Bowl. I do not care about the seasons. I do not watch the commercials the next day. I don't care. Don't care in any way, shape, or form. So, we're going to pop that out. That was pretty quick. Hopefully I'm going to keep that theme going. Okay. So, the next thing, really quick, okay, is this. Drag shows. So, you know, drag shows and trans women, okay, are under attack, especially trans women, okay, you know, we are the other, being othered, and, you know, the GOP and Trump spent more money on anti-trans ads in that election campaign, this last, you know, horrible season, than all of the rest of their ads combined. And I think that's, you know, where a lot of it got, you know, pushed people who may have been on the fence over the edge. I'm not saying it was a good tactic. I think it was an effective one, unfortunately. But, you know, it says drag shows are safer than churches. Absolutely. I haven't seen a drag show yet where a drag queen or drag king, because they do exist, you know, they might not be in your porn, but they do exist, assaulted a child. Hasn't happened. And let's say in the last 20 years in the United States, I think there may have been one case, maybe, and I don't think that's, I think what it was is a cishet man went into a woman's bathroom to assault a woman and then claimed to be trans to try to get out of it. Didn't work. But even if that was the case, that's one, okay? How many Republican, Christian, politicians, cops, lawyers, youth pastors, excuse me, youth pastors, music pastors, heads of churches have been not just arrested, not just accused, not just arrested, not just gone to court, but convicted in the last 20 years. Hundreds. So y'all might want to look at your own motherfucking, you know, house before you look at somebody else, okay? So, and then the last thing, this is for those who lament their vote. And I'm not talking about the Democrats this time. I've been talking about that off and on a couple of times, okay? I'm not talking about the Democrats. This is for the people who voted for Trump. Yay, we're going to vote for Trump. You know, basically because he hates the same people they do. But, you know, whatever. They have that tiny, 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 tiny sliver of privilege above other marginalized groups. White privilege, okay? Especially white male privilege, white cishet male privilege. And they're scared shitless of losing that privilege, okay? So as long as they thought that black people, other ethnic groups, trans people, queer people, etc., would get treated like shit, and they wouldn't, they're fine with that. Absolutely fine with that. What's up, Joey? Joey says, sorry I'm late, had to charge my phone enough to start back up, forever, shut itself off, damn phones. Well, you know, electronics nowadays. I was sitting here getting ready for the show. I'm just farting around doing whatever, you know, finishing up last minute editing, making sure pictures are all in line where I want them to be and whatever. And my phone was sitting over there on the little table next to the camera setup. And all of a sudden it went, you know, whatever the sound is, doop, 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 you know, whatever, saying it was shut off. And I'm like, I didn't cycle that and shut it off. I forgot to plug it in because I'm a doofus. So, Joey, just a real quick go through. Let me find this here. Let me scroll up a little bit just to keep you up to date. Okay, so we talked about Michelle Obama skipping Trump's inauguration. She said, you, okay. You know, of course it was, you know, I have other obligations, you know, previous obligations and whatever, okay. And there's a picture, two pictures I showed. One is of Michelle smiling at the DNC, you know, having a good time. You know, she's a great public speaker. The other was her standing in line, on, I guess, steps maybe somewhere, sidewalk, okay, with Barack and the Trumps, Donald and Melania, okay. And so here's Melania, looking at it from my point of view, left to right. Here's Melania, here's Donald, here's Barack, and then over here is Michelle. She's like, I don't want to be next to that bitch. All right. and she had that look on her face like, why the fuck am I here? All right. Again, like I said, it might not have been in her thought process, but it surely was in mine, okay? And then they had a thing with the FDA. I can show this prop. They had a thing with the FDA where, see the label here? We'll pretend this is a bottle of pop, okay? And See the back label here? Okay? What they want to do is they want to take that back label and put it on front. Because apparently Americans can't do this. So you're pretty much almost caught up. I did a little thing about drag queens and kids being safer there than at churches. In fact, there's a trans comedian, who said recently, my two favorite pieces from her. One was, people are always talking about trans women wanting to beat cis women in sports. She said, we don't join sports to beat women. If we wanted to beat women, we'd just become cops. And the other one I just saw just a day or two ago was, we're not out to groom your kids. We're not going to sit here and spend thousands of dollars, years of hormones, and go through societal oppression. If we wanted to groom your kids, we'd become your church pastors and your youth pastors. But anyway, and then the whole thing. This was Ralphie was in response to the people who regret their vote. I remember reading somewhere. I don't remember the exact statistics, and it may not have been like completely true or close or whatever. But for the next week or so after the election, one of the biggest Google searches was, "How can I change my vote?" You fucking can't. Check out the classic story of the I want to say it was a steel mill factory. I don't know why I keep saying that, but it was a production factory anyway. And I think they used steel for something, to make something. And the president, who sat down, had the employees sit down in a meeting and tell them they weren't getting a Christmas bonus this year, and then tell them why, and it was because of the tariffs. And they're like, what? And he had to explain to them that other companies don't pay the tariffs. American companies pay the tariffs. And then in order to be competitive, not lose their shareholder money, they had to raise prices. And this particular company also had to buy all of the material that they needed for the next year prior to Trump coming in, so that they wouldn't have to raise their prices, so that they could be more competitive. So, Schadenfreude, it is what it is. Leopards eating people's faces party. So we come to pretty much the bigger part of the show. We're going to go on the left side to start with. This fucking jerk, okay? That's what he is. Pete Hegseth, okay? One of Donald Trump's nominees. I'm not sure if I want to say it's not the worst, okay? But he's definitely one of the worst, okay? I would say he's in the top 3, the worst nominees. Pam Bondi is the other one. She's nominee for the Attorney General. At least one of the other ones, anyway. So little Petey there has that tattoo. Now, a lot of people have been saying that tattoo is a specific white supremacist tattoo. It is and it isn't. Okay, it's not like the swastika. It's not directly tied to a particular modern white supremacist group, unless you consider the Catholic Church, which I do, a white supremacist group, because that's what this is. Okay, it has to do with the Catholic Church. The issue is that the Catholic Church has long been known for its white supremacy and its colonialism. I even had a family member who I no longer talk to tell me one day, I said something about the Nazis, and she goes, "Are they Nazis? Are they real Nazis?" And I said, they don't have to wear swastikas to be real Nazis. If they espouse every single viewpoint that the Nazis have, then they are real Nazis. So, this guy is trash. His mother wrote a letter, an email to him, criticizing him for his treatment of women. And then when that came out, kind of backed off and was like, no, actually, I didn't mean that. Yeah, okay. He's also, and we'll get into why this is important, he's also literally said that women should not be in the military, should not be in combat in the military. Okay. Tell that to Tammy Duckworth, see what her reaction is. And my reaction as well. I've been in the military. I haven't been in physical combat, but I've been in the military. I was in there at the end of the Cold War because, again, I'm an old fart. And then he is also heavily alleged to be an alcoholic. Okay. And so this guy is, give me just 1 second here, I want to check something out. One of my pictures is not showing up right, so give me about 30 seconds. Okay. So anyway, yeah, there we go, I fixed it. So this schmuck is the nominee, Trump's nominee for the Secretary of Defense. He doesn't know jack fucking shit about the military. He's never been in the military. Has no inkling of what the military is like. No inkling of what the military does. When the Democrats, some of the Democrats, not all of them, asked him some probing questions, didn't know what the fuck they were talking about. He's absolutely worthless. The Trump nominates these people solely for 2 reasons. Okay, 1, how can they increase his and his corporate buddies' profits, and 2, how much they can suck up to Trump. Okay, and so where's that other image? Okay, speaking of sucking up, this is Joni Ernst. Coffee break. This is Joni Ernst. She represents Iowa. Well, technically she's supposed to. Okay. She pulled the Lisa Murkowski, Susan Collins bullshit, where she was questioning his credentials and she wasn't sure if she wanted to support him, you know, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. Give me a second here. I gotta scroll this up. Okay. She. Hold on. Excuse me. She said she was skeptical about his nomination. Okay. Suddenly, now, she supports him. She said she will vote for Pete Hegseth for Defense Secretary. Of course she will. She got bought up and she got pushed off. The reason she got pushed off is because, excuse me, again, in part, Elon Musk, okay? Elon Musk, there's a group that was backed by Elon Musk, excuse me, okay, ran ads in her state saying the deep state, meaning her, is trying to stop Hegseth's nomination. Okay, here's what gets me about this, okay? She said, quote, he, Pete Hegseth, a well-known alleged drunk, and a alleged sexual assaulter, was adequately able to answer all of my questions. He pointed out the woke issues at the Pentagon, and I think we're at a point where now we can start moving forward. Yeah, again, the woke issues. Okay, which means women should, you know, not, well, they're going to start with not being in combat. Okay, and then they're going to start taking them out of other positions if they can. You know, pilots, whatever. You know, because not all pilots are in combat technically. Okay, and in other positions in the military or even in the military itself. But hopefully these jackasses are only, well, at the, you know, the best case scenario would be in power for just a little over a year ish. We'll get into that real briefly. Or at the very most, 2.5 to 3 years, whatever, you know, before the next election, that election rolls around. Because unless one of 2 things happens, which I'll get into that, Trump will be gone, you know, in the next 4 years. Okay. My concern is, one, that he will claim all this election fraud like they do all the time. You know, any time they lose, oh my God, it's election fraud. Even when he won in states that he won, he claimed there was election fraud. Oh, so, you know, your votes, you know, the votes that people voted for you don't count? Of course not. And like I said, you know, the people that voted for him didn't get that. You know, in the states that he won, you know, he claimed election fraud. So the possibility is, I think it's an unlikely possibility, but it does exist unless people start really pushing back on it, okay? that he's going to say, oh, well, there's election fraud, so we're going to suspend the elections. Okay, he doesn't have the power to do that. All right, Congress does, and to my knowledge, it still takes 3/5. I believe it's the Senate. I'll have to check on that. I could be wrong, but I know it's. I'm pretty sure it's a majority, one or the other, either the House or the Senate. Okay, and there's no way. I mean, they have the slight majority in each, but there's no way they can get that 2/3. It's either 2/3 or 3/5. I forget which level to do anything like that. Okay, so that's not going to happen legally. Okay, we all know how that goes. And then the same thing for a lot of people have complained about the possibility. People who are blue, who are farther left, etc., have complained about the possibility that he might try to do the well, we're just going to run for a third term anyway. Okay, fuck the Constitution, because he's already shit on the Constitution over and over and over and over and over, and so have the GOP. Here's my thing about Joni Ernst. Okay, so again, she, like I said, she did the Susan Collins, Lisa Murkowski thing where I might vote for my mind. I don't know. Okay. He said women shouldn't be in combat. He also is, like I said, an alleged sexual assaulter. Okay. She is a military veteran, and she's a sexual assault survivor herself. She was sexually assaulted. I don't really want to use the word rape because, and I put the G there in front of it, because YouTube doesn't like that word. And again, I'm not worried about monetization. I only have on this channel, I have 149 subscribers. So, but she's been sexually assaulted herself, but it's okay with Petey. She's a military veteran, but it's okay with Petey. If he were to kick her or any woman out of being in military combat. Okay, and of course, the whole woke thing, and they would, ban all trans people and, and queer people and whatever. But there's no reason, none whatsoever, none, period, why women can't be in combat. None. Not a one. Not a mental one, not a physical one, period. And that hurts our military. But you know what? Every single thing that this orange shitgibbon has done in the last year and a half, no, actually longer than that, the last 5 years-ish, whatever, has either intentionally or unintentionally fucked over the country. Okay? Every single cabinet pick he's made, every single one is a piece of shit. Hands down. They're a piece of shit. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. They don't give a shit about the country. Okay? Every single one. He has appointed his personal lawyers that he's been using as lawyers for the Department of Justice. The ones that are supposed to defend him. Okay? Of course. And with the whole Russia thing, interfering with the original election between him and Clinton, I just, Putin and the people that support him have to be jumping up and down, dancing with glee over this asshole. And anybody else, China, anybody else, okay, who want to see, the U.S. Go further down the hole of destroying itself. Because that's what's happening. The country is destroying itself because of these assholes. And because there's a large portion of America, I don't want to say it's half, okay, I don't think it's half, but there's a large portion of America that supported Trump. Now, the reason I don't think it's half is because I remember reading there's different guesstimates, okay, and that's what they are, is guesstimates, okay, because they can't keep specific track, but somewhere between 60 to 80 million people just did not vote. No, fuck it, I'm not voting. For whatever reason, whether it's because they're pissed off at the Democrats, because they didn't want to talk about Gaza, or they're pissed off at the Democrats because a lot of them are fucking transphobic, because they're pissed off at the Republicans but they're not pissed off enough to vote for the Democrats to keep the Republicans out of office, then whatever, it doesn't matter. They just didn't feel like fucking voting that way today, whatever, it doesn't matter. Over 60 million Americans did not vote. That's why this asshole got into office. Oh, I had a mandate. The fuck he did. I got the best mandate. Everything he does is always the best, right? I got the best mandate of any president. The fuck you did. Reagan ran against Mondale. I happen to remember that, Mr. Trumpty Dumpty. Reagan again ran against Mondale and took 49 states. You sure the fuck didn't. So, like I said, Ernst caved in, okay? I don't think she had any idea of really fighting against his nomination anyway. She did to gain attention, etc. She shits on Iowa. She doesn't represent Iowa. Because if she represented Iowa, she would represent all of Iowa, not just the Reich wing. And that's what I call it, R-E-I-C-H, Reich wing. Okay? So, I do have a suggestion. I do have a solution. Let me get back to my thing here. We're just about to shut the show down. Like I said, I'm aiming to be shorter, at least for the Wednesday shows anyway. Okay, so I do have a suggestion. Where did it go? Okay, give me a second, folks. For some reason, it is not showing up. So, this will only take less than 30 seconds once I get it up and running. Ba-da-dee, ba-da-dee, we all live in a condom factory. There we go. Okay, I'll use that one. I have a couple different images for this. Okay, so I will use that one. This is my suggestion on how to fix it. It's a suggestion that has worked for other countries before. It is fairly definitive in its effectiveness, and I think that it's a good remedy for what ails this country, insofar as a lot of the politicians, and not all on the right, okay, but a few on the left, but in my opinion, okay, 95% on the right. It's my show, it's my opinion. 95% on the right. And I think that the American people as a whole need to kind of get together, and not reaching across the aisle. We're not doing that bullshit, okay? I'm not reaching across the aisle for Nazis and bigots. It's just not going to fucking happen. But reaching across the aisle for reasonable people who aren't bigoted, who aren't anti-woke, and there's enough of them between the Democrats, the left Democrats, because the Democrats are center-right, the left Democrats, the far left Democrats, and then the leftists, starting going farther left, like myself. Most of those, probably not the centrist Democrats, and that's the last part we'll get into, and it'll be very brief, but most of those can pretty much work with each other. For a lot of the things, we have similar goals, different methods. And that's it. And that's fine. Okay. The last point here is the centrist Democrats, and by centrist Democrats? Okay, that's weird. Yeah. By centrist Democrats, I mean even though she claims to be otherwise, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, Henny Stoyer, Steny Hoyer, the Democrats who are there, and that's another thing too. Okay, and I think it's the reason for the centrism. Okay, look at the age of Congress in general, especially the Senate, but Congress in general. Okay, a lot of the House members, right or left, doesn't matter. A lot of the House members are younger. You got Bobblehead, you got Marjorie Taylor Greene, you got whoever, but you got AOC, you got Jasmine, you got Katie Porter, etc. So you do have quite a few younger ones, both sides of the aisle, so to speak. But there's also a lot that have been in Congress for decades. You need to go. Sorry, you need to go. Now, it's not their age, because if somebody came into Congress when they were 60, hey, if you've been in Congress for, I would prefer that they have less than 3 terms, 12 years. But if you've been in Congress for, 8 years or whatever, run again. That's fine, you've kind of got the ropes down, you know what you're doing, hopefully, by then. But these people that have been in for decades, no, you need to go. You need to retire. You need to go. You can be a supporter. You can be a mentor. You can be a lobbyist. Whatever you want to be, fine, cool, dandy. Because none of them are poor. I guarantee you, none of them, not one of them, are poor. Okay. So, and again, that's irrespective of party. Okay. That's the Nancy Pelosi's and the Mitch McConnells. Okay. They need to go. They need to go. Nancy Pelosi is slightly healthier than Dianne Feinstein was, but Dianne Feinstein died what? I think she had a vote and then she died 24, 48 hours later, something like that, of old age. She looked like the Crypt Keeper. No, they need to go. They need to go. You need to get younger blood in there, both sides, okay, but you need to get younger blood in there. You need to get people who are a little bit closer to their constituents, instead of those who have been in there for so long that they're insulated from what the people are actually going through, and they don't give a shit what the people are going through. It's just flat out. They don't give a shit. They'll pretend that they do. They'll talk mouth about they do. Nancy Pelosi, and I know I keep hitting on her, but y'all know I've already hit many times on Republicans. Nancy Pelosi is a perfect example, because when Kamala Harris went to decide to she hadn't come out and said it publicly yet, but she was going to run for presidency. And a lot of people are like, yeah, that's cool, that's great. When she did decide to come out as a candidate, okay, the first week she got like $100 million, and most of that was small donors. Like within 2 or 3 weeks, she had $200 million. Okay, her biggest problem wasn't, I think Gaza was one of her biggest problems. Okay, but other than that, her biggest problem as far as the political machinery goes was she had 2 months. That's all she had to run. Because Biden wanted to stay in power. He kept pushing it. People said, oh yeah, well, he stepped down. He did what's better for the country, which I agree. Okay, he stepped down, but he was forced to. There's no way that if the rest of the Democrats, or the more powerful Democrats, I should say, and and the people in general had not said, we want you to step down. There's no way he would have stepped down, flat out. I've said this before. I've heard this I've read this before. I've heard other people say this before. I believe Barack Obama said something similar once. Okay. You have to have one hell of an ego, no matter who you are, no matter what party you are. You have to have one hell of an ego to think you can be president of this country. And not necessarily specifically, better, harder than any other country. Just whether it's president of this country or of France or the ruler of Russia or China or whatever. Okay, you have to have one hell of an ego, and it's hard for people to step down. Joe Biden has been in office for decades. Okay, not saying that everything he did was bad. He did do quite a few things, good things, over time. There's a lot of shit I don't agree with, but he did do quite a few good things, over the years. Okay, that wouldn't have gotten done without Joe Biden. So I will give him credit where credit is due. But he should have fucking stepped down. Once he first started saying, the first month or so or whatever, and then, all the pushback or whatever, and somebody younger and whatever, and he should have stepped down. The other problem, this very last point, I've said that, the other problem is the media, okay? It's called mainstream media, the legacy media, the quote-unquote liberal media, which they sure the fuck aren't liberal, okay? Day after day after day after day after day after day after day, they hit on Joe Biden's age. Okay, how he was speaking, how slowly he was speaking. Sometimes, they would couch the fact that he was stuttering in different words, but that's one of the things they focused on. Okay, and he's been stuttering all his life. Again, they hit on his age, and he's a little slower. I mean, he's 81, I think he is. So he's a little slower. Okay, definitely slower physically. Okay, he's 81. Not a word was said about Trump at that time. Nothing. except for independent news media. Suddenly, age was no longer an issue. Okay, and that was one of the problems that Trump had. If he hadn't had that issue, I think he would have had a larger gap. Winning. Well, he would have still won and would have had a larger gap. If he had continued to run against Biden. But suddenly that was no longer an issue, and all of his stuff up until that point was based on the idea of, I might be bad, I might be a little old, but Biden's much older and he's decrepit, and suddenly that was no longer there. So, we're going to shut it down. I appreciate you coming out. Where is my thingy next to the thingy by the thingy? We all live in a condom factory. I appreciate you coming out. Watching me run my mouth for a half hour or so. What time is it? A little over a half hour, not much. Pretty bad. Pretty good. Not too bad. I am going to be doing a live show again on Sunday. I will be putting out a clip tomorrow night. And then we're going to hopefully get back on schedule. I had some problems and some other issues, personal issues, so I wasn't able to do a live show yesterday. Day before? What the hell is today? Nah, Binky and the Brink. Yeah, yesterday. Okay. So, but I am trying to keep to that schedule of the short live show on Wednesday, and slightly longer on Sunday. I do want to keep that less than an hour long, if I can. So Wednesdays and Sundays, 7 p.m., same time. I used to change the times around a lot, and people just, it's harder for people to keep track. So it's 7 p.m. Okay. If you're not able to watch it at that time, you're working or you're eating supper or doing something with your family or you just don't feel like it, whatever. Okay, that's fine. You can always watch the show later, the reruns. Like I said earlier, 2 minutes after, if that long, after the show ends, you're able to watch the rerun. So remember to hit a like, hit subscribe, on the channel. I may just leave it on hashtag because it's, it seems to be working fine and whatever, and I'm having so many problems with Restream. I may just leave it here. Excuse me. Where is it? Okay. Last thing. I've said that like 5 times. Last thing. Like I said, leave a like. Hit the notification bell. Leave a comment in the comment section below. As soon as I can get done, I will finish up the description. And then I will pin that comment in the comment section. You can leave a comment. You like the show, you don't like the show, you agree, you disagree. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you think about. Even if you like the show, tell me whatever you want to tell me about the issues I've talked about tonight. If there's something you want to see in the future, let me know that as well. Not everybody is in the lockstep all the time with the right wing. Most of them are, but a few of them are kind of on the fence. Okay. And not, you can't just go, oh, well, I'm going to just pick person A at random, that's supposed to be a middle of the road or an independent. No, but you may know someone personally, okay, family member or otherwise, who isn't quite entrenched in either party, okay, and maybe talk to them. Completely up to you, and don't waste your time if you think that they're not going to, at least listen, okay? But maybe talk to them. Maybe bring up some points like what I brought up, or other points that you might want to bring up, okay? But like I said, don't waste your time. But say if the GOP is wrong about this issue, maybe they're wrong about this issue, something like that, okay? But choose your battles wisely. I did say that word. It's a weird word. I did say that word correctly. Choose your battles wisely. Don't spend your energy where it's not going to be effective. Okay, and especially stick with community. That's what I love. Blue Sky. Okay, it's got some issues, but far less than any other social media I've been on in a long time. I really like it. So I suggest you check it out. I am the Angry Wrench on Blue Sky. I'm also got a writing account called Shawana the Fae. So I will have that in the description as well. So I'm Angry Wrench on Blue Sky. I'm not going to be on Facebook probably after tomorrow midnight anymore. I'm going to delete my accounts, period. I'm not going to deactivate them. I'm going to delete them, all of them. I think I have 4 or 5 accounts there. I'm going to delete all of them. I'm tired of Facebook shenanigans. They're bullshit and they're fascist sucking up. Not happening anymore. I'm not going to support it. Even if I just had an account and never said anything, that's still, in a way, you know, I'm only one person, but still supporting. I'm not going to do it. So remember my tagline: the angry wrench is kind, the angry wrench is not nice,